Up, guys? We are back for yet another video working on Dakota, and for this video we're going to be putting the engine and transmission back in this thing, and of course we will finally be matching up the 5.2 liter to the NV3500, and then the Dakota will have a V8 in it for the first time ever. Alright, sorry, I just realized there's a bunch of dust or something all over the camera lens because this thing's been sitting out in the garage for a while. So let's go over everything that has been done to this, and I have a couple of really cool custom made parts that I need to show you guys also before we go ahead and stick this thing in here. So the transmission has been completely rebuilt. It has new bearings on the between the input and output shaft, and has new bearings on the lower shaft as well, and all new synchronizers. As you guys will probably remember, this thing had a grind in third gear. Got all new synchronizers on everything, and we should be all set internally. All of the consumables have been replaced, all of the seals have been replaced, everything has been gone through. It goes through the gears better and crisper than it ever has before. Everything rolls nice and smooth. And then what I'm leaning on top of currently is my new clutch and flywheel setup. So I've once again gone with a Luke clutch. Luke flywheel, excuse me. Luke flywheel. This is exactly what I had on it before with the V8 clutch that was on the 3.9. I went with the exact same one because I was very happy with that one. For our clutch, we have a center force clutch. This thing is supposed to be rated up to about 500 something foot-pounds. It is a still just a sprung single puck clutch. It's just probably going to be a lot heavier, of course. So it's rated for almost twice the amount of torque that the factory clutch is. It's like 90%, and yeah, this is pretty much about the only option you can get that's a direct fit into one of these trucks with an NV3500. So this is what I went with, and that torque figure that it's rated for, this thing will blow rods out of the side of the block before it makes that amount of torque, so I should be good to go. This will be the last clutch I need for quite a while, I think. So we got a pilot bearing because this 5.2 liter came out of an automatic, so this is the pilot bearing that I had in the 3.9. Never had an issue with it. So that's the one that we are going to go with again. Now going to the engine, this thing is 100% fully dressed. All of the accessories are on this thing. We've got the intake, the injectors, modified the fuel rails to fit the Hemi-sized injectors in there. Of course, we've got all 8 in there instead of 6 of them. And we've got the V8 throttle body, the old one that was on the V6 on here, of course, because now we actually have a V8. Got that little cap plugged off. We've got the old Spectre air hat. This whole engine has been regasketed. We've got Cometic multi-layer steel head gaskets, some brand new Felpro exhaust manifold gaskets. We've got the ARP head bolts. I've gone through everything. The 3.9 had a relatively new water pump that I put on it, so I reused that. Bypass hose is already new. So a lot of the parts from the 3.9 that I could spare, I ended up putting on here. The rest of the stuff I ordered new. But yeah, this thing is 100% put together. We got spark plugs in it there. We got my bungs for the oil drain on either side, because I'm not sure if I'm going to run single or twin turbo, and I'm also not sure which side of the engine I want to put the turbo, so I figured I would put both in there. That way I can make up my mind later after I get everything in the truck and laid out. I have some custom made steel engine mount bushings. These were made by my friend Mike. These are inside of the Hypotech engine mounts that I had. So I had issues with the bushings that were in the Hypotech motor mounts still wobbling a lot, and it actually ovaled out one of them. I don't understand how, because those were polyurethane bushings made by Energy Suspension. Great company, I like their stuff. I don't completely understand how this thing managed to wallow them out like it did, but it did. So I'm tired of having this engine shaking around on me. I'm over it, so we decided to retain the mounts that I bought, but make some solid steel press-in bushings for this thing. So these bushings are pressed in. They've got a tiny, tiny gap here. We didn't want to have the possibility of it shearing a bolt inside of here, so we ran them pretty close in together inside, and they are a press fit, but they can be removed pretty easily. So we've got those. He made these custom for me, and then we've also got some solid steering rack bushings because I wanted to experiment with that. So these are solid aluminum. The bushings and the mounts over there are solid steel. These are solid aluminum steering rack bushings. So they had some polyurethane ones in here, but I wanted to give this a shot and see what that would be like. See if it makes it, gives me a little more steering feedback without being too harsh, or if I'm going to end up having to take this back out and put a steering rack or the rubber ones back in. We'll see, but I figured it would be worth trying. Now we have considered, after I get to test this stuff, he's considering maybe producing more of these steering rack bushings. He's also thinking about making his own solid engine mounts for the 3.9 Magnums as well. He's not really sure what to do on design. Yeah, we've kind of been throwing a few ideas around, but if anybody would be interested in custom solid engine mounts or be interested in solid steering rack bushings, let me know and I can get a hold of him. He's considering, you know, making a run of them, but we need to get enough people interested in them for it to be worth making them. So if you are interested, maybe let me know in the comments or message me, and we will try to see if we can get something set up once we get to test these out. We don't want to make a bunch of them and sell a bunch of them without actually getting these things tested first. I think that pretty much covers everything. That's the engine, that's the transmission, clutch and flywheel. I think now it is time to get this engine off of this Harbor Freight engine stand and get it on the Harbor Freight engine hoist. Get the pilot bearing popped in there, get the clutch and flywheel on it, get it stuck to this transmission, and stick it back in the truck. So what I'm going to have to do, of course, is get the thing up in the air a little bit so that I can get the lift underneath of it. Otherwise the truck will sink with the weight of the engine down and the lift will be stuck underneath of it. I found that out the hard way a couple of times, and I need to get some of these wires pulled up out of the way. But this thing is pretty much ready to go in. Alright, so I got the flywheel right here, and what I'm going to do is put 2 of the flywheel bolts in with my cordless impact, get them snug, and then Loctite the others, take the original 2 back out, Loctite them, put them back in, and then we'll go ahead and torque these. That way those 2 will seat everything nicely. I can get the others Loctited in there, and then when I take the other 2 out, you know, the other 4 will be holding it in. Just do that real quick so that I can set this here. Get in there. Come on. There you go. That one's all the way in. Yep, that's all the way in. Alright, those are all torqued up, which means that the entire clutch flywheel assembly is back on, and it is now time to put the transmission and that little cover on, because I did remember it. And after that, it's actually time to try putting them in the truck. So let's get some things moved around, get that transmission over here, try to stick it on the back of this thing again. Oh yeah, way better. Okay, and it looks like that plate goes on after the transmission is attached to the engine, so we should be good to go. Wow, it's like I've done this a dozen times. Look at that. Maybe I'll insert the clip of the last time I did this. It took me like 10 minutes, 15 minutes to finally get it to go. That was way too easy. I'm gonna pay later if something's gonna go horribly wrong. Okay, that should be plenty. All right, I think the next step is sticking this thing in the truck. Clear some space and see if we can get this thing slid in there. Alright, it is now a week later, and as you can see, the engine is in the Dakota. So the Dakota has officially received its 5.2 liter Magnum boost ready, and the turbo V8 build has kind of started to take off here. So the engine is in. I got the oil pan switched out. I went on Rock Auto, just bought a brand new Dorman oil pan for, you know, like a 96 Dodge Dakota with a 5.2 liter. Got that on, changed out the sump as well. The sump is different, or the pickup tube is different between the Rams and the trucks, like the bigger trucks, and the Dakotas, and also the vans. So I had to change that as well, so it fit this oil pan. Got that all taken care of there, and I also got my drain fitting for the turbo well done right there. So got all that stuff done, got the engine stuffed in here. I did have to come in here, as you guys will remember when I had these new mounts in here last time, the slots on these motor mount brackets were very tight. I had a hard time getting them in. We slotted them out this time, got everything tied together. These solid bushings fit in here just fine after doing that, and got that all done. Underneath of the truck, the transmission is completely hung up. All the mount and everything is all in. All the hardware is in that. The shifter is in here right there, so I can run it through all of the gears. The slave cylinder is back in, and the drive shaft is in, so basically everything underneath of the truck is hooked back up. So I went ahead and I got the distributor kind of roughly timed. I've got it set up to where the rotor is pointing at cylinder number 1, and I made sure that I was on the compression stroke over here on cylinder 1. So that is all back in and ready to go there. And I was just about to go ahead and put the starter in over here. Get that in because it's going to be easier to get to it right now that I don't have anything up here in the way. And once the starter is in, everything will kind of be back in underneath the truck, and I'm probably going to put the radiator and the intercooler back in and get a good look at how much space I'm going to have up here. One other thing that I did do, I don't know if I showed you guys this, but after doing the manual swap on this truck, I didn't have a block off plate for the bell housing area, and you can kind of see it right there. I do have one of those now. I picked that up when I pulled the second junkyard transmission, because that truck had one, because the original junkyard truck that I got the first transmission from didn't have one. My truck obviously didn't have one because it was an automatic originally, and the third truck that I finally took a transmission out of had one in it, so I was able to grab that and save it. A little bit of an extra, I guess, a little bit more reassuring having something covering all that stuff down there, so I don't have to worry about road debris and crap flying inside of the bell housing and just tearing stuff up. It is a huge relief to have this here, because now I can actually start putting stuff together. I can start planning for like the turbo kit that I'm going to have to make, and kind of start getting other things set up. I can figure out what stuff from the V6 setup is going to work, what stuff won't. I'm going to go get the starter in and try to get some of this front clip put together, and then we'll get a good look at how much room I have up here. Alright, as you guys can see, I was able to get all of the front end parts put back together on this thing. I also got the starter in and hooked up the throttle cable bracket, so it's one less thing laying up here on the cowl. So this is kind of what we're looking at for room. So plenty of room here for the V8 to fit behind that, but definitely not enough room to fit any sort of turbocharger exhaust piping over there. So it's looking like what I'm going to have to do is run a single turbo, which I kind of knew I was going to have to do from the other day when I was able to just sort of eyeball things. I have to run a single turbo, mount it over here, and of course, good thing I only put the one oil drain on this side, so I'll be able to use that. Twins would have been kind of cool if I had a little bit more room, but the thing is, running single turbo, I've already got a turbo, I have all the oil lines, I have everything pretty much ready to go. I just have to make a new Y pipe to run into it, and of course a new exhaust running out. That's it. The V8 is in. We've got a lot of the drivetrain assembled. We've got the whole front clip put back on here as far as, you know, the radiator and intercooler and all that stuff goes. And I think the next step is probably going to be getting some of the wiring sorted on this thing, trying to get some fluids in it, getting the cooling system and all that stuff put back together. I've got to get some fittings for some of the coolant ports I'm going to block off, like the ones for the heater. I'm not going to be running coolant through the turbo anymore because it's going to be mounted all the way over here. It's going to be a pain in the butt to get coolant lines to run. I really don't have to run coolant lines through that thing. So I'm going to be getting rid of that, moving a few other things around. Some of the wires for the sensors need to be extended this way to be able to reach up here now because everything's shifted forward, and I have to add 2 more injectors to that. The rest of the wiring should be able to stay pretty much the same. Starter location is the same, fan location is the same, all my lights and stuff are the same, battery isn't going to move. The alternator has been moved slightly forward, so I'll probably have to extend that wire a little bit. But just a few small adjustments wiring wise, add a couple of fittings here and there for some stuff, and then we'll be able to maybe do a little test run with it naturally aspirated just to get a few heat cycles in it, and then kind of take it from there. Get the turbo kit built, get the turbo on here, oil lines and all that stuff ran, start working on the intercooler piping and getting an exhaust on here and all of that. So that is going to be it for this video, guys. I want to thank you very much for watching. I thank you very much for sticking around this long and kind of being the encouragement to get me to this point with this truck and continuing to pursue this turbocharged Dakota build here. So like I said, thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.